Here is my video outlining the Year 7 statistical investigation I created and completed. The question I came up with was, do boys engage in out-of-school sports more than girls between the years 5 to 7? The investigation I will take you through now will allow us to see the results of the data I collected. To find the answers to my question, a random sample of 30 females and 30 males was obtained from the 2014 Census at School data available at Random Sampler. The website is shown. These results contain data about sex and enrolment in out-of-school sports from students in years 5, 6 and 7. I have represented my data into 4 different graphs. Firstly was the sector graph. Although this graph was able to show the total number of hours both females and males engaged in out-of-school sports, it wasn't able to provide me with each individual result collected. This would make it difficult to find out the mean, median, range and mode. Next up is a double column graph, which was fairly good at representing the data that was collected. However, it again didn't show each of my results individually. It was helpful how it differentiated between each year level, but for the question being answered, the year level wasn't needed to be taken into account. The dot plot was the next graph I tried, and it was the first graph I created that allowed me to individually represent each result that was collected, although it didn't show me which results were from the male students and which were from the females. This was a problem as the question specifically asked about the different sexes. Therefore, it would be no good in answering the question in this investigation. Lastly was the back-to-back stem and leaf plot. I decided it was the easiest one to collect the results I needed to answer the question, and it also provided each individual result that was collected. Therefore, this eventually was the graph I decided to use to collect the data I required to produce my summary statistics table. From the data collected, the answer to the question, do boys engage in out-of-school sports more than girls between the years 5 to 7 is no. It would seem girls in fact engage in more out-of-school sports than boys do. The mean for the females surveyed was 9.94 hours, whereas the mean for the boys was 9.24 hours. This means that on average the girls were doing 0.7 more hours of sport outside of school compared to the boys. The difference between the median for both females and males indicated that the middle value for females was higher, by 3.5 hours. The mode was unable to tell me much as the most popular answer was 0 for both boys and girls. With all this in mind, we can conclude that both females and males on average engaged in roughly the same amount of hours of sport outside of school per week. To be able to generalise these results, I believe that the sample would need to be increased. In hindsight, 60 students wasn't enough to accurately answer the question. Because of this, the results should be used with caution, as the results were too close to accurately conclude which sex engaged in more out-of-school sports.
Created using Powtoon.